Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Missing Piece podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening in, and we got a great episode for you guys today. We're going to go over some Fever basketball stuff, some good, some bad, for the Indiana Fever. Since the last time we talked, we'll go over this very pivotal Game 7 for the Indiana Pacers, what to look forward to. Man, if they can pull this off, they win the NBA championship for the first time in franchise history. We'll go over what the Pacers need to do to win, and we'll finish off with some draft talk for the Indiana Pacers and some looking ahead financially for this Indiana Pacers team for this summer. So we got a jam-packed episode for you guys today, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So, for the Indiana Fever, like I mentioned, there's some good and some bad. I think we'll rip the Band-Aid off and start off with the bad stuff. So, bad stuff is this West Coast trip for the Indiana Fever has not gone so well. They lost to the Golden State Valkyries, that's last Friday, and they lost to the, Las Vegas Aces for the 16th time in a row today. So, Caitlin Clark has just been really struggling these past couple of games from three. I don't know what's going on. I think the Fever need to regroup and figure out what's going on and fix it. Cause, I don't know what's going on with them. So, hopefully the Fever can figure it out. Their next game is not any easier. They're going to Seattle, who's a top 5 team, I believe, in the WNBA right now. So it's not getting any easier for them going forward. So hopefully they can end this West Coast trip with a win, because it has not been a very good West Coast trip for them so far. For the Fever. So I think we'll end it with the good news for the Fever. So good news is All-Star voting for the All-Star game here in Indianapolis, the first round has come through, and Caitlin Clark is leading the way with the All-Star votes, and Kelsey Mitchell is also in that conversation in All-Star votes. And then the Fever did last week beat the Connecticut Sun in the Commissioner's Cup, which is basically the NBA Cup, but for the WNBA, and the Fever are now in the championship game in the Commissioner's Cup, and they will be playing the Minnesota Lynx on July 1st, which is coming up in the next couple of weeks. So they'll be playing for the Commissioner's Cup then, but they got to take care of some business before then, because they're on a 2-game losing streak, and this West Coast trip has not gone to plan. So hopefully the Fever can finish off this West Coast trip in Seattle with a win. But I think that's enough with the Fever. I think we'll get into this monumental, pivotal Game 7 that the Pacers are going to be playing tonight. One last game for the NBA championship, and it's a big one. It's going to be Pacers Thunder in Oklahoma City, and it's going to take a monumental effort from the Pacers to pull off a victory in Oklahoma City. So, keys to the game for the Pacers. Number one, you need to be able to keep up with the Thunder. You can't let the Thunder get off to like a 20, 25, 30-point lead in this game. Because if you let them get to that lead, they're not going to let you back into this game. So you gotta keep it close going into the fourth. Or maybe you blow them out, but I seriously doubt that's going to happen. But you gotta keep it close going into the last quarter. The other thing the Pacers need to do is limit the turnovers. I know Games 2 and Games 5 for the Pacers in Oklahoma City, and I'll include Game 1 in there as well for the Pacers. Turnovers in Oklahoma City have been bad for the Pacers in Games 1, 2, and 5. Game 1, the turnovers didn't cost you the game, but in Games 2 and 5, they did. You gotta limit the turnovers in Oklahoma City. I know they're gonna be hounding them defensively because this is for the championship for 1, and for 2, they're gonna be at home. So you gotta limit the turnovers. You gotta make every possession count against this Oklahoma Thunder team. You got to come away with points on almost every single possession. And you gotta win this one because this is for the championship. The other thing you gotta do, you gotta slow SGA down. I know Nembhard's been doing a pretty darn good job of that in some of the games this series. Game 5, I don't think he did very well, but in games 3, 4, and 6, he did very well defending SGA. Nembhard's got to do it again. So you got to lean on Nembhard defensively. Other thing you need to do is you cannot let J-Dub go off for 40 points like you did game 5. You got to limit J-Dub. No more 40-point games for him. And the other thing is, outside of those two, because those two are going to get points, you got to limit everyone else around him. I thought we've done a pretty decent job of limiting Chet Holmgren this series, except for a couple of games. Sorry. You got to limit Lou Dort on the three-point line. Outside of Game 6, Lou Dort has just been amazing shooting threes. So whoever's guarding Lou Dort, whether that be Tyrese Halliburton or someone else, you got to get Lou Dort off that three-point line. You stick to him like glue on the three-point line, and you limit the threes. Number 4, the refs tonight are the same. Most of them are the same refs that were in Game 4. These guys called a lot of fouls that game. So if you're the Pacers and if they are going to call fouls, you make sure the Thunder miss the shot. You don't give up and ones. You make them earn it at the line. So no and ones tonight. Offensively, Tyrese has got to score 20 plus tonight. When Tyrese scores 20 plus, they've only lost once. So you gotta limit. You gotta get Tyrese scoring. You gotta get Siakam scoring. Those are your two best players, and they need to show up tonight. Nembhard's gotta be there offensively. I know most of his work going to be on the defensive end, but he's gotta show up offensively. Nesmith has got to help with some threes. Turner has shown up defensively, but he's been horrible on offense this finals. He can't make a three to save his life this finals. So Turner, you got to hit some of those threes tonight. The bench, McConnell's got to show up tonight and give a performance like he did in Game 6. Obi Toppin has been amazing this series. He's got to step up again tonight. Matherin's got to step up tonight. He needs to put up some points. Ben Shepherd, you got to make those wide open threes because those help. So everybody's just got to play their best game tonight because this is going to be really difficult because you're going into a hostile environment, into Oklahoma City where the Thunder have just been spectacular at home, losing only twice at home this whole postseason. They've only lost twice. So, it's going to be really loud in there. It's Loud City for a reason, but if the Pacers can pull this off, man, that would be so special. And a first ever NBA championship coming back to Indy. And it would be one of the biggest upsets in the NBA Finals history. I think everybody was picking the Thunder to win this series. So, man, if the Pacers can pull it off, that would be amazing. But I think we will get into some NBA draft stuff. So, obviously today, with the NBA draft, the landscape kind of changed today with the Kevin Durant trade from KD going to Phoenix to Houston for the number 10 pick, Jalen Green, what was it? Oh gosh, Dylan Brooks, and 5 second-round picks. So I think we'll go ahead and dive into a mock draft here. So, I think we'll go ahead and let's restart this one. And we'll do full draft because the Pacers don't have a first-round pick, but more on that later. So, we're going to start off with the Dallas Mavericks making some dark magic deals and getting the number 1 pick after giving Luka Doncic away and getting the rights to take Cooper Flagg, which I don't think Nico Harrison deserves, but I think Dallas Mavericks fans deserve after trading Luka away for a bag of peanuts. So, the number 1 pick, unless Nico Harrison wants riots in the streets, he's not trading this pick away, and he's taking Cooper Flagg. And I do think Cooper Flagg is going number 1 to the Dallas Mavericks, so Cooper Flagg number 1. You're welcome, Nico Harrison. The Spurs, another team that shot up to get the number 2 pick. This one's also a slam dunk pick. It's going to be Dylan Harper going number 2. I know the Spurs have De'Aaron Fox and the reigning Rookie of the Year, Stephon Castle. But in the NBA draft, you take the best talent available and you figure the rest out later. And to me, Dylan Harper is the best talent available at number 2 if you're the San Antonio Spurs. So, I don't think they're trading this unless they can get like a Giannis or a Jaylen Brown. I don't think you're getting those, so I think the Spurs will stick and take Dylan Harper at number 2. So, the 76ers at number 3. Excuse me. I honestly don't know what the 76ers are going to be next year, because hopefully you get a healthy Joel Embiid back. Hopefully you get a healthy Paul George back, and a healthy Tyrese Maxey back. And then Quentin Grimes, I know he's going to be a free agent this offseason, but I think his price tag is going to be a lot more expensive than the 76ers are originally planning for. So that means they might lose an Eric Gordon or a Guerschon Yabusele, who's been amazing there for Philadelphia. I honestly don't know where Philadelphia's going to go with this. I could see them try and move it, but I don't know what Philadelphia would want, because I would imagine they would want someone that's going to help them win right now with what they have. I don't think Philadelphia's going to get the offer that they want. So I think out of all these, Ace Bailey is in consideration here, but Ace Bailey has just been doing some head-scratching stuff because he said no to a workout with the 76ers. To my knowledge, he hasn't worked out for anybody. So, I don't know where Ace Bailey's going to go, but I do think if Philadelphia is going to stay and make this pick, I think it's going to be VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor, who had a really good workout for the 76ers. So I do think that VJ Edgecombe is going to go 3 to Philadelphia if they stick and pick. And in this exercise, I think they're going to. Charlotte at 4. This is another team that could trade this pick. I honestly don't know where the Hornets are going to be. I think if you're the Hornets, you were hoping to get number 1 and getting Cooper Flagg, but obviously that did not pan out. Excuse me. I honestly don't know where this Hornets team is going to go, because I don't know what they have. You have LaMelo Ball, but I don't know what you're going to do with LaMelo because he keeps getting hurt and he cannot stay healthy. So, I honestly don't know what you're going to do with LaMelo because he cannot stay healthy. And if he can't stay healthy, I don't know how he's going to lead this team. I do like your small forwards with Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller. I like Grant Williams. You got Tiaje Saloon, who you took in the lottery last year. You do need a 2, in my mind. Center is also in need. There is no way that you can bring Mark Williams back after you basically traded him away to the Lakers, and the only reason that he's still on this team is because he failed the physical. So I don't think there's any way you can keep Mark Williams here. So if I'm the Hornets, I don't mind moving down and taking someone like a Malawatch and trading Mark Williams away this summer and trying that Mark Williams trade again. But the question is, who down this list would want to trade with the Hornets? Would anyone want an Ace Bailey or a Trey Johnson or a Malawatch. I think the Hornets end up sticking and picking, and I have heard that they really like Con Knuppel out of Duke. I've heard a lot of buzz from Con Knuppel from 4 and 5 from the Hornets and Jazz. So I am going to go ahead and take Con Knuppel, and then for the Hornets at 4, because I've heard a lot of buzz about him at 4. The Jazz at 5, another team that I don't know what they are. I like Keontae George and Isaiah Collier. Keontae George, I'm not sure whether he's a 1 or a 2 in the NBA. I think you can make a case for both. I don't think Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton are going to be on this team long term. I think as soon as both of their contracts are up, they're both going to be gone. Let me click on Jordan Clarkson here and see if he's going to be a free agent this summer. His contract is coming up, so I don't know. And then same thing with Colin Sexton. I don't think Colin Sexton... What happened here? What's going on? There we go. Okay, sorry, technical difficulties. Same thing with Colin Sexton. I don't think he's going to be on this team long term. You definitely could use a wing. You can upgrade over these 3. At the 4, same thing with John Collins. I don't think John Collins is going to be on this team long term. But I do like Lauri Markkanen, and I do like Taylor Hendricks. I don't know what the long-term solution is for Lauri Markkanen is either. I do love your centers in Walker Kessler and Kyle Filipowski. I know Walker Kessler is getting a lot of interest from the Lakers. So I think on this Utah team, I do think they could use a point guard, knowing that Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton are probably not going to be here for very long. And maybe you move Keontae George over to the 2. So I am going to go Jeremiah Fears here, the point guard from Oklahoma, and move Keontae George over to the 2 and work from there. The Wizards at 6. So here again, I think Ace Bailey is in consideration here. And I do think if you're the Wizards, you could use someone like an Ace Bailey, because let's look at their roster here. Malcolm Brogdon is a free agent. He is not going to stay in Washington. He's probably going to leave. Marcus Smart, his contract is coming up soon. I would imagine he's going to want to go to a contender, so he's probably not going to stay. Jordan Poole, I think the Wizards would be willing to trade away, because they have Keyshawn George and they have Bub Carrington, who was amazing this year for the Wizards. And Keyshawn George was too. Chris Middleton, he's got 1 more year left on his deal. Actually, he could opt out, but I think he'd be a fool to opt out, because he's got 1 more year left on a max deal, and then he's going to hit free agency, and he's not going to get that max deal again. So I would imagine Chris Middleton will probably opt in for 1 more year with the Wizards and then leave. You got Bilal Coulibaly, who I love. Corey Kispert. I think the Wizards could easily trade Corey Kispert to someone like the Nuggets, who need like a role player, and get like a first-round pick for him. At the 4 and 5, you got Alex Sarr, Richaun Holmes. So I think there's definitely some room for improvement here at center and at point guard, specifically on this team. And you maybe can move Bug Carrington to the 2 with Keyshawn George. I honestly, I don't know where to go, because I could see Ace Bailey. I could see the Wizards, you know what, screw it. I'm going to take Ace Bailey and just take a massive swing and maybe I hit a home run like I did with Bilal Coulibaly and Bub Carrington. But I also know that the people who are in charge of the Wizards came from the Thunder, and they value culture. And what Ace Bailey has been doing with denying workouts, I don't think fits the culture in Washington. So I could easily just go Trey Johnson. Man, this one's a tough one. So I probably am going to go Trey Johnson here. Give them like a pure scorer that's going to put points on the board. And I think if you're Washington, you got some guards in there that are pretty darn good. And maybe you get lucky in next year's draft with Cameron Boozer and Caden Boozer coming out. The Pelicans at 7. Let's see what the Pelicans have here. So point guard Dejounte Murray's going to be hurt. He's going to be out with an injury going into this season, so I'd imagine they're probably going to be looking at point guard. I love Jose Alvarado. Bruce Brown is going to be a free agent. I don't think he's going to stay in New Orleans. I'd imagine he's going to leave. You got CJ McCollum at the 2, Jordan Hawkins at the 2. I like your 2s. At the 3, you got Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. I love those 2. At the 4, Zion is really good when he's healthy. The problem is Zion is never healthy. He's constantly hurt. So, you know what? I'm actually going to do a trade here. I could see the Pelicans trade this pick to number 10. And then we're going to send this pick back to Phoenix. So, Houston gets 7. And then we'll say New Orleans gets 7 and seconds to get 7 and 29 from Phoenix to move up to 7. So there we go. So this pick, and then we're going to give this one to the Suns. We'll just send one of those. This pick was part of the KD trade. So we'll send this over to Phoenix. So the Suns are now, they're going to do a little bit of finagling. So the Suns are now on the clock. Kevin Durant is not on this team anymore. He's in Phoenix. But you look at this team, if you're the Suns, they need a point guard pretty bad. I like Tyus Jones, but I don't love him starting. I think they said they're going to have Devin Booker and Jalen Green start a lot. I would imagine if you're the Suns, you want to get rid of Bradley Beal as soon as possible. I don't think you want Bradley Beal there in Phoenix. At the 3, you got Dylan Brooks, you got Royce O'Neal, you got Ryan Dunn, who you can probably move to the 4. You got Cody Martin. I'd imagine they'll probably move Ryan Dunn to the 4. They need a center really bad. So I am going to have the Suns jump the Raptors so that they can get Malawach. And Malawach goes to a team that really needs his presence down low. Derek Lively type of impact for them. So Malawach goes to the Suns at 7. So who's at 8? The Nets, I believe, are at 8. Yep. So if you're the Nets, they wanted Jeremiah Fears. He is gone now. I think they take Ace Bailey. I think the Ace Bailey train stops here. I know the Nets have a bunch of picks this year, but I think Ace Bailey going 8 and the Nets taking a massive swing on him would be smart, so I'll go Ace Bailey here. The Raptors at 9, so I just gave Malawach away to Phoenix. I would imagine the Raptors would have wanted Malawach. So if you're the Raptors at 9, looking at this team, they do need a point guard. I love Emmanuel Quickley, but I think he'd be better served as like a Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson type, where he comes off the bench and just scores points off the bench. I like your 2s with RJ Barrett, Ochai Agbaji, who's had a really good resurgence there, and Grady Dick. At the 3, you got Brandon Ingram and Jordan Nwora. That's not bad. And then at the 4, you got Scotty Barnes, you got Jonathan Mogbo, and you got Boucher. And I mentioned center is a big need for the Raptors right now. I think they had their eyes set on Malawach, and then I had the Suns jump them. Because they really need a center, because Jakob Poeltl's going into the last year of his deal. And I don't know if the Raptors want to keep him. Should I have the Raptors move down and take... Does anyone want to move up for a Yakachonis or a Carter Bryant? They could go Carter Bryant and put him at the 4. You know what? I'm going to go Yakachonis. I'm going to give them a point guard. I'm going to give them a pass-first point guard, and I think they figure out center next year. So I'm going to go Kasper Yakachonis to the Raptors, who need a point guard. See, this one goes to New Orleans, so they do need a point guard. Because as I alluded to earlier, Dejounte Murray is going to be out for a significant amount of time with his Achilles tear. You got CJ McCollum. They do need a point guard. You could go Igor Demon, but I could see them go Carter Bryant and get another wing/4 in here that can play defense. You know what? I am going to go Carter Bryant as Zion insurance. I think you could easily put Carter Bryant at the 4 if Zion gets hurt, and I think you won't miss a beat. So I am going to go Carter Bryant here, and I think they can get a point guard later on in this draft. Portland at 11. I don't think Portland needs any more point guards because they got Scoot, you got Anthony Simons, and you got Shaedon Sharpe. So I think you're good at guard. If you're Portland. Denny Avdia had an amazing year for them. Tumani Kamara has been amazing for them at the 4. And then I think this logjam at center is finally going to go away after this year with Robert Williams and DeAndre Ayton set to hit free agency. And I think finally you can hand the keys to the center position over to Donovan Clingan. So I don't think they go guard here. You could go Derek Queen, who I think you could go double bigs between him and Donovan Clingan and basically have it be where, like what Minnesota had between Cat and Rudy Gobert, where one big is really offensive orientated and the other big is really defensive orientated with Donovan Clingan. You could go Colin Murray-Boyles, who's more defensive. If you want to go defensive guy, I am probably going to go Derek Queen and just go 2 bigs, and you basically copy and paste what the Timberwolves did with Cat and Rudy Gobert, with Derek Queen and Donovan Clingan there. So, the Chicago Bulls at 12. So for the Bulls, point guard, you got Lonzo, you got Kobe White. At 2, you got Josh Giddey, who you're probably going to have to bring back at a big price tag. Ayo Dosunmu, who might get traded. Buzelis was really good for you this year. Patrick Williams was okay this year. Vucevic, I think, could be traded. So I think if you're the Bulls, you just go best player available. I have heard they like Igor Demon, but I don't like the fit of him in Chicago. Because him and Josh Giddey are basically the same player. You could go Colin Murray Boyles and just go defense. I am going to go Noah Esengue here. Get another wing in there at the 3-4 with Matas Buzelis. And I think if you're the Bulls, you just hope for the best with that one. Hawks at 13. I think the Hawks really need a center desperately. I don't think Clint Capella is going to be back there in Atlanta. I do think they need a backup point guard as well pretty badly. Dyson Daniels has just been amazing for them, so has Trae Young. So they really need a center, like, really badly. The question is, you know what, I'm actually going to give him Igor Demon. And then that's your backup point guard in Atlanta, and then they take a center later on. San Antonio, again, I think this one's a trade. Does anyone want to move up for a certain wing? You know what? I'm actually going to have the Grizzlies move up. 16. 14 goes back there. Seconds go to San Antonio. So, I think the Grizzlies jump the Thunder at 15, and they take Cedric Coward, who is just amazing at the Combine, has shot up boards, and I think you replace Desmond Bane with Cedric Coward, and that's not a bad replacement with a younger, cheaper option there. So for the Thunder, at 15, there's no way they're keeping all these picks as they don't have the roster space right now. So for the Thunder, eventually, down the road, J-Dub's going to come off of his rookie deal. You're going to have to pay him the max. Same thing with Chet Holmgren. Eventually, Chet Holmgren's gonna come off his rookie deal, and you're gonna have to pay Chet Holmgren the max, which means you're not going to be able to afford an Alex Caruso, a Lou Dort, an Isaiah Hartenstein. You won't be able to afford those anymore. So I think you need to start thinking about, okay, eventually I'm gonna lose Lou Dort. So how am I gonna replace Lou Dort? I think you go with Colin Murray Boyles, and you put him in the G League, and you really work with him on his offense. He's spectacular defensively. He's horrible offensively. So I'm going to go Colin Murray Boyles for the Thunder, send him to the G League, and figure it out. So San Antonio at 16. I gave them Dylan Harper earlier. What else do they need here? They could use a 2 behind Devin Vassell. You got Keldon Johnson. Sohan, Harrison Barnes. You got Harrison Barnes here as well at the 3. You got Victor Wembanyama. You could use another big in there. Could go Liam McNeely and just get shooting in there. Get another shooter, which isn't a bad idea. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. Give Liam McNeely to San Antonio and figure that out. Minnesota is on the board, so I think if you're Minnesota, you got some financial situations you got to fix, because Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be a free agent, Naz Reid is going to be a free agent, and so is Julius Randle. So whichever one of those that you lose between those 3, you need to replace. I do think they need another big. So I am going to go Thomas Sorber. And you get another big in there. Washington again. I gave them Trey Johnson. Could use a center. I'm going to give him Berenger to go along with the centers. I think if you're Washington, you're not going to be good this year. I think Yohan needs, because he's a project, I think he needs to go to a team like Washington where he's going to get time and he's going to learn. I think you have two French big men in between him and Sarr. So I think Yohan Berenger goes to the Wizards. Brooklyn, I gave you Ace Bailey. Who's a 3. What else do they need? D'Angelo Russell, Cam Thomas. Could use another big. I am going to give them another big. I'm going to give them Austin Newell. Because I think one of those bigs is going to get traded. And I think you go Austin Newell. Miami. They missed out on the Kevin Durant trade by not giving up Kelly Ware or Jaime Jaquez. I do think they need a point guard desperately. And I think this is where Walter Clayton comes in from Florida. So I think they take Walter Clayton and they put him at point guard. And they hope for the best there. Who is this? Utah? So I gave him Jeremiah Fears at point guard. I think they could use a wing at 3. I'm going to give him Nick Clifford. Man, if you're the Jazz, I gave you some good picks. Nick Clifford and Jeremiah Fears. That's a really good haul. The Hawks, I gave him Igor Demon. I'm going to go Danny Wolf here at center. They need it back. They need another big, and I think offensively, Danny Wolf is really good. New Orleans, this was the Pacers pick that we traded to get our own pick back next year. So this is the Pelicans pick. Who did I give him? I gave him Carter Bryant. So I do think this one. Who's another point guard that I can give him? Jace Richardson's a very undersized 2. You know, I am going to give him Jace Richardson. Maybe you have McCollum handle the ball and he's your 2, but he's a very undersized one. Oklahoma City. Just give him Hugo Gonzalez. That's another guy that you can put in the G League right now, and because you don't have the picks. So this is the Orlando Magic after trading for Desmond Bane. Magic also need a point guard really badly. Let's give them Nolan Traore just to give the Magic a point guard that they desperately need. Brooklyn, this is the so if you're the Nets, I gave you Austin Newell. Let's give them Will Riley. Another shooter in there from Illinois. Man, Brooklyn with back-to-back ones. Let's just give them Rasheer Fleming. So, Celtics at 28. This one's an easy one. It's Ryan Kalkbrenner. They need a backup center. Especially when you're probably going to get rid of, what's his name? So this one, I actually gave to New Orleans. For that trade up. So, I think they got what they were sitting out for. Let's give him Noah Penda. So, a guy that you can develop in Phoenix. And then, the Clippers. So, let's see here with the Clippers. They need a point guard. But, I think Maxime Reynaud is too good to pass up. Have him be your stretch center. Coming off the bench. Minnesota. And I think this is round 2. So I think we'll end it here. But I think we will just go with random players until we get to the Pacers pick here. So we'll just keep going here. It's going to go random players until we get there. Which it's not until late, because we gave our first round pick away to get our first round pick back next year, which was smart, because Bennedict Mathurin's contract is coming up, and we'll get into that with the financial stuff, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit when we get to the Pacers pick. I'm just randomly going through these until we get to the Pacers pick here. Magic, Bucks. Cleveland's pick. New York. Clippers. Rockets. We're coming up on, I think the next one is the Pacers pick. Oh no, that's not. So, for this pick for the Pacers, and we'll talk about their financial situation here. So, financially, it's not looking good because Miles Turner is going to be a free agent. And when you pay Miles this summer, which I would imagine they're going to, because they just traded their first round pick away, and it's, I don't think they're going to let Miles Turner walk. I think they're going to run it back next year. Whether they win or lose tonight, I think they're going to run it back. So, you see these two green numbers right here, $2 million in tax space, 6.8 apron space. Those numbers are going to go into the red as soon as you pay Miles Turner. So you're going to be in the first apron. So, and then next year, Mathurin's contract is coming up. I believe Neesmith's is coming up as well. So, I think with this pick, you need to go someone that you can put into the, like G League and just go with someone. I'm gonna go Ryan Nembhard here and give Andrew Nembhard his little brother to play with. But, I don't think the Pacers can do much this offseason free agency-wise besides bring Miles Turner back, because obviously these two numbers are going to go red as soon as you pay him. So, the Pacers are not going to be able to do much. Unless they make a trade to create the room to get Miles Turner, these numbers are going to go red. So, we'll go ahead and take Ryan Nembhard here and give Andrew his little brother. But, I think we will leave it there for today. And I think we will go ahead and end the episode today. Thank you guys so much for listening in, and hopefully the Pacers win tonight, and I'm coming at you with a new episode. So, thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys next week.